in ancient Bharat, holy places or holy towns were called as Tirtha. That's why you have this term called Tirtha, which means people visiting holy sites and so on. And the temple proper or the temple locations were called Kshetras. Very interestingly, in today's Kerala, the proper temples are called as Kshetras even today, so which is very interesting. So we have the holy towns called Tirtha, and we have the temple locations or the temples called Kshetra. All right, and in almost 95% of the cases, when you read a Tamil inscription of a land grant or something to temples, you always come across this Tirtha, Kshetra, and the name of the god. The context is very clear and very detailed. So I have given an example here. In this case, a donation is made to a temple at Kumbakonam, and this is how the inscription calls this. This donation is being made to God Mahadeva of Kirkottam at Tirukudandai. So Tirukudandai in this case is the Tirtha, the Kirkottam is the Kshetra, and the Mahadeva is the name of the temple. So we have Tirtha, Kshetra, and the god is sometimes called Moorthy. So the Tirtha, Kshetra, Moorthy concept is very important. I'll tell you in a second why I am emphasizing this, because out of 36 inscriptions that we are talking about, almost 9 of them were named as Thiru Ayodhya or Sri Ayodhya. The Thiru literally means Sri. So none of these inscriptions are referring to Ayodhya simply as Ayodhya. They are always referring with great respect, and they are calling it as Thiru Ayodhya. And one is very curious. You don't come across this phenomenon anywhere else in Tamil inscriptions except for the temples of Krishna and Rama, wherein instead of referring to the locality in which the actual Rama temple was located, the temple is actually named after Ayodhya. And as you all know, Ayodhya, the Ayodhya proper is actually a Tirtha. It's one of the holiest places, one of the 7 sacred cities and so on. So that Tirtha, the name of that Tirtha is being adopted as a name of a Kshetra or a temple. So you see a temple being named Thiru Ayodhya. And this is not 1 or 2, this is happening in almost 9 inscriptions, 9 temples, which is phenomenal. So obviously we are not talking about one isolated incident, we are talking about a cult. We are talking about a pattern and so on. So why did the ancients do this? There should have been a very valid reason, because in almost all other thousands of inscriptions, you don't come across this phenomenon. So why these temples were named after Ayodhya? In fact, there is an inscription which is outside my research boundary. It's a later Pandya inscription, and it gives you a clue of why this was done. That inscription is from a locality. It's called Kircheval, and there is a Venkatachalapati shrine there. And the inscription there calls that Rama temple Ten Thiru Ayodhya or Southern Ayodhya. So this very clearly shows that the ancient Tamil kings and Tamil donors, whoever built those temples, they were actually trying to represent the whole of Ayodhya in the form of a temple, which is phenomenal. So which means unless these people knew about Ayodhya and knew about the Ayodhya Ram temple, they wouldn't do this. I will give you an example, right? Let's say I am in Delhi, right? Let's say I'm living in New Delhi, and I am constructing a Balaji Mandir, and I am calling it Tirupati Balaji Mandir, right? My locality is Delhi, but I am calling this mandir as Tirupati Balaji Mandir. And people would question me if there was no town called Tirupati, right? And there is no Balaji Mandir in Tirupati. People would question me, hey, why are you naming it after Tirupati? Probably it should be named after whichever, it should be called Delhi Balaji Mandir, right? So unless there is a more famous temple in Tirupati, and I am actually trying to represent that for the sake of devotees who could not go all the way to Tirupati because it's located, far and away. That is what has happened here. There was a population, there was a cult in the ancient Tamil Nadu around 10th century, which was deeply involved with Ram Bhakti, which knew about the existence of not just Ayodhya as a town, but also the Ayodhya Mandir. So much so, they actually named these temples as Thiru Ayodhya. Now, this raises big question on the dating of the original Ram Mandir itself. All right. Not only the temple is being named as Thiru Ayodhya, Rama, the name of Rama, is also called Thiru Ayodhya Perumal, or the Lord of Ayodhya, which is fascinating. Another very interesting aspect is, out of these 36 inscriptions, not a single inscription calls Rama as Rama, because the royals were never called by their proper name. They were always called by a respectable surname and so on. And that's what happens here. These inscriptions call Rama as Thiru Ayodhya Perumal, Thiru Ayodhya Alvar, Raghava Perumal, with great respect and adoration. And Thiru Ayodhya Chakravarti, the king of Thiru Ayodhya. You should remember, in the Hindu tradition, the god who is enshrined in a temple is a living, breathing entity. So ancient Tamils never saw Rama as a historic personality or something. They actually saw him enshrined in the temple at Ayodhya, and there is a reference from Nammalvar's hymn which says, Ayodhya Varum. He calls Rama as someone who is presently living in Ayodhya, which clearly shows that the Tamil people were looking up to Ayodhya temple and the Ayodhya Ram Mandir with great adoration and respect, and they believed that the Rama as a thriving deity, thriving entity.